The Galactic Council's emergency session about the void spawn invasion was approximately 47 seconds from declaring total dimensional collapse when High Chancellor Zillax noticed the human girl sitting in the corner of the sealed quantum chamber, scrolling through her phone. "Security!" Zillax's 7 vocal cords harmonized in perfect panic. How did... This chamber is locked with stellar core encryption. The doors are sealed with the gravitational signature of a collapsing neutron star. Emma Williams looked up from her phone, genuinely confused. "Oh, sorry. Did you guys need the room? I can come back. Just wanted to check on that humming noise coming from the air vents." She gestured with her tool bag, which was covered in stickers that said things like HVAC technicians do it with better circulation and keep calm and check your filters. The crystalline form of Chief Physicist Sinara flickered through approximately 7 different colors that translated to various stages of cognitive breakdown. According to YouTube analytics, 99.6% of viewers are not subscribed. That's a huge number. By subscribing the channel that is completely free, you'll help support the channel and never miss fresh content. That's impossible. Our sensors show no breach. The quantum locks require the death energy of an entire star system to override. You're registering as if you simply don't exist in our security framework. "Yeah, your back entrance has a wonky latch," Emma said helpfully. "I just squeezed through. You should really get that looked at." "Oh, wait," she laughed. "That's literally my job. Want me to add it to the work order?" Military Commander Korvax, whose reptilian species had conquered 47 star systems through pure tactical superiority, moved to physically remove the human. His armored claw passed completely through Emma's shoulder like she was made of mist. He tried again. Same result. On his 3rd attempt, his entire arm phased through her torso, and he stumbled forward, crashing into a holographic display that showed the void spawn consuming the outer dimensional barriers. "Okay, that's weird," Emma said, stepping back and nearly walking through the containment field that was supposed to hold the galaxy's most dangerous cosmic entity samples. The field sparked, failed, and rebooted. "Sorry. I don't know why stuff keeps glitching around me today. Mercury must be in retrograde or something." "Mercury," Zillax repeated slowly, "is a planetary body in your home system. It cannot be in retrograde relative to... That's not the point. Do you understand what's happening here? The void spawn are consuming dimensional barriers across 17 quadrants. Entire civilizations are being erased from existence. We have less than 1 rotation cycle before they breach this reality entirely." "Oh," Emma's face fell. "Oh, shit. That's really bad. Is that what the humming is?" Gaseous mystic advisor R. Hill, who existed as a sentient cloud of probability particles, suddenly condensed into a tight formation. The human can hear the void spawn? That should require perception across 11 dimensions. Humans operate in 3, perhaps 4 if we're generous with their temporal awareness. "It's really annoying," Emma said. "Like when someone leaves a fluorescent light on that's about to burn out. That bzzz sound. It's been driving me crazy for like 2 days. That's why I tracked it down. Figured it was probably a loose compressor or something." Sinara's crystalline structure was now cycling through colors so rapidly it looked like a disco ball having an existential crisis. She tracked a void spawn incursion. Because it was annoying her? Well, yeah. I take pride in my work. Emma pulled out a small device that looked like it came from a hardware store. "Mind if I take some readings? Might help me figure out what's causing the interference." "That's a consumer-grade electromagnetic sensor," Korvax said, having recovered from his phasing incident. "It can't possibly..." The device exploded in a shower of sparks. Emma yelped and dropped it, shaking her singed fingers. "Ow, okay, definitely not a compressor. What the hell are you guys keeping in your vents?" Existential oblivion, Zilak said, his patience finally snapping. We are keeping existential oblivion in our vents because that's where it's manifesting. Child, you need to leave immediately. The void spawn consume everything. Matter, energy, souls, concepts. They've destroyed species that had mastered reality manipulation. They've erased entire timelines. And you're standing here complaining about humming noises. Okay, first, I'm 24, so child is a bit much, Emma said, crossing her arms. Second, if you know what's causing the problem, why haven't you fixed it yet? Seems like the kind of thing you'd want to prioritize. Rahil made a sound like wind through a graveyard. We've tried everything. Every weapon, every defense, every ancient protocol. The void spawn exist outside our physical laws. Their hunger given form, entropy personified. Our greatest experts have been working on this for cycles. Have you tried talking to them? Emma asked. The entire council stared at her. What? She said. Look, I don't know about space monsters, but when my building's ventilation system starts acting up, it's usually because something's out of balance. Maybe they're, I don't know, eating reality because something in their reality broke? Did anyone try asking? Sinara's color stabilized into a deep purple that suggested she was having to manually prevent her consciousness from fracturing. They eat consciousness. Any attempt at communication results in the immediate dissolution of the communicator's existence across all possible timelines. Oh, Emma said. Yeah, okay, that's a problem. She absently reached up and adjusted the scarf around her neck. It was a ratty old thing, hand-knitted, with little dragons embroidered along the edges. So what's the plan? There is no plan, Zilak said quietly. We've activated every defensive protocol. We've called upon every ancient alliance. We've even attempted to resurrect the draconic wards, the last defense created by the dragon race before they went extinct. Nothing works. We're here to formally document the end of our civilization before the void spawn breach this final chamber. That's it? You're just giving up? Emma looked genuinely offended. You're an entire galactic government, and you're just gonna roll over? We are accepting reality, Korvac said stiffly. Something your species seems remarkably bad at. Yeah, because we don't accept bullshit cosmic doom prophecies, Emma shot back. Look, I fix air conditioning for a living. You know how many times someone's told me a system is unfixable? Every single day. And you know what? 90% of the time, they just didn't check the simple stuff first. The chamber suddenly shook. Reality itself seemed to ripple, like a pond disturbed by a stone. Through the walls, which should have been impenetrable, dark tendrils began manifesting. They looked like cracks in existence itself, oozing an absence of everything. They're here, Rahil whispered. The void spawn have found us. Alarms began blaring. Holographic displays showed breach points opening across the station. The tendrils spread faster, and where they touched matter, that matter simply ceased. Not destroyed, not disintegrated. It simply stopped being real, erased retroactively from the timeline. Emma stumbled backward as a tendril reached toward her. Okay, that's definitely not up to code. Zilak slammed his primary appendage against the emergency console. Activate the draconic wards. Final authorization. Ancient mechanisms, older than most of the species in the galaxy, rumbled to life. Energy patterns that hadn't been used in 10,000 years began to form. Geometric shapes that hurt to perceive, symbols that existed in more dimensions than the eye could process. The draconic wards, the last gift of the dragon race before their mysterious disappearance, were the galaxy's ultimate defensive measure. The patterns flickered, sputtered, started to form around the chamber, and then tried to connect to something, to Emma. What? Emma gasped as her scarf suddenly grew hot against her skin. What's happening? The draconic wards were pulsing, reaching toward her like living things. Sinara's equipment started screaming alerts. Impossible! The wards are trying to establish a connection point, but they're targeting the human. The wards were keyed to dragon DNA, to reality wardens, to beings of pure cosmic authority. Emma's hands flew to her scarf as it began to glow underneath the fabric. A golden light seeped through the knitted material, growing brighter by the second. Okay, this is weird. This is really weird. Remove the covering, Hill commanded, his gaseous form swirling with unprecedented agitation. Child, remove the scarf. Now. With trembling fingers, Emma unwound the scarf from around her neck. The tattoo beneath blazed with light that shouldn't have been possible in three-dimensional space. It wasn't ink. It was never ink. The dragon that coiled around Emma's neck and up behind her ear was made of golden flames that somehow existed in solid form, its scales shimmering with the light of newborn stars. The design was intricate beyond mortal craftsmanship. Each scale contained universes. Each claw held the weight of worlds. And it was moving, breathing, alive in ways that made the council members' biological processes temporarily forget how to function. Korvax's translator broke entirely, emitting only a sound like k-k-k-to. Zilax fell backward out of his hovering chair. The dragon mark, the actual legitimate reality-warping dragon mark of succession. Okay, Emma said, her voice pitching higher. Okay, so funny story. When I was on my gap year doing that interstellar backpacking thing, I stopped at this rest stop in the Sigma Quadrant, and there was this elderly lady having trouble with her ship's starter. I helped her jump it. Turns out battery cables are pretty universal, and she was super grateful and insisted on giving me a tattoo as thanks. She said it was traditional and that it would suit me. I thought she just meant the design was cool. The elderly lady, Sinara said, her voice barely functional. Describe her. Like 7 feet tall? Had these gorgeous iridescent scales? Eyes that looked like they could see through time? Really good at making tea? Emma paused. Oh God, she wasn't just a nice old lady, was she? The dragons, Hill said reverently, didn't go extinct. They dispersed, waiting, searching for a successor species, someone worthy to inherit their role as reality wardens. And they chose humanity? They chose a species that's been spacefaring for less than 2 centuries. Korvax had recovered his translator, though it was now smoking slightly. A species that still has wars over resources they could synthesize. A species that invented nuclear weapons before they invented proper space travel. A species, Zilax said slowly, staring at Emma with new understanding. That doesn't accept cosmic inevitability. That looks at the impossible and asks, have you tried turning it off and on again? The void spawn tendrils were spreading faster now, sensing the sudden spike in cosmic energy. They reached for Emma specifically, drawn to the dragon mark's power. The chamber's walls were dissolving, reality peeling away like old paint. Emma felt something inside her respond. Not her mind exactly, but something deeper. The tattoo wasn't just decoration. It was a key, a connection, a responsibility she'd been carrying without knowing it. The dragon who'd given it to her had seen something in that simple act of helping a stranger, in that refusal to walk past someone who needed assistance. You're eating reality, Emma said, and her voice carried harmonics it had, never held before. You're literally consuming people's homes, their families, their entire existences. That's someone's Tuesday you're erasing, you jerk. She raised her hand toward the nearest tendril, acting purely on instinct. The dragon mark flared brighter than a supernova. Golden light exploded from her neck, spreading like dragon's breath made visible, and where it touched the void, Spawn's darkness, reality didn't just heal, it reinforced, became more real than it had been before. The void Spawn recoiled, making sounds and frequencies that shattered half the instruments in the chamber. They weren't used to prey that could fight back. They certainly weren't used to prey that could hurt them. Yeah, that's right, Emma advanced, and the dragon mark's power flowed through her like the world's most intense caffeine high. You know what the best thing about humans is? We're really, really good at being stubborn about stupid shit. And you eating my reality? That's the stupidest shit I've encountered all week, and I had to explain to a guy yesterday why you can't cool your entire house by leaving the refrigerator door open. The tattoo began to manifest beyond her skin. The dragon shape expanded, growing, becoming a construct of pure golden energy that surrounded Emma like armor, or perhaps like a partner. She could feel its presence, ancient and patient and deeply cosmically exhausted with entropy given form, showing up and ruining perfectly good realities. The dragon mantle, Sinara whispered. She's invoking the full dragon mantle. Emma placed both hands against the largest reality tear. The void spawn on the other side screamed in wavelengths that made 3 nearby star systems briefly flicker. Here's the thing about maintenance work, Emma said, and now her voice was layered with something ancient. It's not about having the fanciest tools or the biggest weapons. It's about understanding that everything has a structure. And when something breaks that structure, you fix it. The dragon mark pulsed once, twice, 3 times. Each pulse sent waves of golden energy through the chamber, through the station, through the dimensional barriers themselves. The energy wasn't destroying the void spawn, it was doing something worse. It was making reality more defined, more concrete, more stubbornly real in their presence. The void spawn, creatures of unmaking, suddenly found themselves in an environment where existence itself was fighting back. Where Emma's energy touched the tears, they didn't just seal. They healed with dragon-marked permanence, becoming barriers that would hold for the next 10,000 years. The void spawn tried to push through, tried to maintain their grip on this reality, but Emma's human stubbornness combined with dragon-forged authority made for a combination they simply couldn't overcome. "My shift," Emma grunted, sweat pouring down her face as she poured everything she had into the ceiling, "ends in 20 minutes. So wrap it up." The dragon mark manifested its full form, a cosmic entity of pure golden light that towered through the chamber, through the station, visible from planets away. Emma stood at its heart, still holding her tool bag in one hand, the most mundane cosmic guardian in galactic history. The dragon opened its mouth and roared in frequencies that existed in dimensions the void spawn thought they owned, and that sound said in every possible language, "No. Not here, not ever. The void." Spawn fled. They didn't retreat strategically. They didn't withdraw to regroup. They fled in absolute terror, scattering back to whatever space beyond space they'd come from, the echo of the dragon mark's authority burning in their existence like a brand. The reality tears sealed completely, reinforced with wards that pulsed with the rhythm of Emma's heartbeat. The golden dragon faded, the light dimmed, the tattoo returned to its normal appearance, just a beautiful design on a young woman's neck, barely visible now that the scarf had fallen to the floor. Emma staggered, caught herself on a console that promptly exploded from the residual energy. "Whoops, sorry about that. I'll add it to the work order." The council stared at her in absolute silence. "Did I—" Emma looked down at her hands, which were still faintly glowing. "Did I just fire ancient space magic? Because I did not read that in the employee handbook." Zilak slowly righted his chair and sat down, looking like he'd aged several centuries in the last few minutes. You saved the galaxy. You bear the dragon mantle. You're a reality warden, one of the cosmic guardians. You are, in the ancient traditional sense, responsible for maintaining the structural integrity of existence itself." Cool. Emma nodded several times, clearly processing. "Does that come with dental? Because my current plan doesn't cover interdimensional energy burns." Korvax made a sound that might have been a laugh or might have been a whimper. "She saves all of existence and asks about dental coverage. Of course she does." "We need to recruit her," Sinara said suddenly, her crystalline form now a determined orange. "Whatever she wants, name it. Credits, ships, an entire planet. She's the only being we've encountered who can actively counter the void spawn. Hard pass, Emma said, picking up her scarf and wrapping it back around her neck, covering the tattoo. I've got 3 more service calls today, and Mrs. Zylar, on level 47 gets really cranky if I'm late for her AC tune-up. You have 3 more service calls, Rahil repeated in disbelief. You just prevented an extinction-level event and you're worried about being late to fix air conditioning units. Well, yeah, people are counting on me. Emma checked her phone and winced. Oh, crap. I'm like 15 minutes behind schedule now. Do you guys have those quantum elevator things? The regular lifts take forever. I need to study that mark, Sinara said, moving closer. The energy signatures, the dimensional integration, the reality-weaving properties, this could revolutionize everything we know about universal structure. Sure, you can scan it or whatever during my lunch break. I usually eat around noon. Emma was already heading toward the door, the same quantum-sealed, neutron star-locked door she'd somehow squeezed through earlier. She walked straight through it again, the security measures not even registering her existence. Just ping me on the station network. I'm in the system under facilities maintenance. Wait, Zilax called after her. We need to brief you on your responsibilities. There are protocols, ceremonies, oaths of guardianship. The dragon mantle comes with... Just email me, Emma's voice echoed from the hallway. I'm pretty good at reading stuff while I work. The door sealed behind her, leaving the council in stunned silence. Should we, Korvac said eventually, tell the other galactic governments about this? That humans can accidentally become cosmic guardians by helping elderly dragons with battery troubles? Zilax let all 7 of his vocal cords harmonize in what could only be described as hysterical resignation. That reality itself can be maintained by a species that measures professional success in customer satisfaction ratings? That our Savior's primary concern after defeating the void spawn was dental coverage and being punctual? She did save us, Hill pointed out. She did, Sinara agreed, completely by accident, with no training, while complaining about humming noises. From somewhere in the hallway, Emma's voice carried back. Found your humming problem, by the way. You've got a loose quantum converter in junction 7. I'll tighten it up while I'm heading down. No charge, it's literally on my way. The council looked at each other. We are never, Zilax said slowly, telling anyone how this actually happened. Official story, coordinated defensive effort using ancient protocols. Agreed. Agreed, the council chorused. Also, Korvax added, we're approving whatever maintenance budget the facilities department requests from now on. No questions asked. Seconded, Sinara said. In the hallway, Emma hummed to herself as she tightened the quantum converter, the dragon mark pulsing gently against her skin in what felt almost like contentment. The elderly dragon had been right. It did suit her. Though Emma suspected traditional might have been underselling it a bit. Her phone buzzed, Mrs. Guillar wondering where she was. Emma sighed, grabbed her tool bag, and headed for the elevator. The galaxy could wait. She had air conditioning to fix. Behind her, the newly reinforced reality barriers pulsed with golden light, holding strong. Sometimes the universe didn't need a chosen hero. Sometimes it just needed someone who showed up on time, took pride in their work, and was too stubborn to accept that anything was truly unfixable. Even existential oblivion, especially existential oblivion.